Your Facebook went on for your PC, whatever you call it.
Oh, hi there. Serious, I remember when people used to actually do that. I used to love that. I think like Mr. Rogers was always famous for that, but like in the 90s and the 80s, TV shows used to always do that. Like act like you were some just like non invited guest, some just uninvited guest, just going for the pop in, and you know, unlike Mr. Rogers, most of us are not fans of the pop in. So, good morning, you guys. It is the 20th today. We'll pay 5 days till the fucking dumbest holiday of all time. Cheers. Now, usually, usually I would go on this like rant about consumerism and not just consumerism, but the whole bullshit behind Christmas in general. I think it was a nice idea at one point. If we could have just handled it right, I think we could have made Christmas actually important. Rather than making it religious. I mean, it's always going to have its religious aspect, but I mean, you can go down a list and there'll be like a billion different people that suppose, you know, and there's at least 4 or 5 different quote unquote messiahs that were born on, you know, the 25th of December. They're, you know, starting with like the water bearer and Aquarius, back when, you know, God and Satan was known as Set. And honestly, in today's world, it wouldn't work anyway. But you know, if we only knew the shit that was coming, you know, ahead, I think we could have prepped for it better and maybe even salvaged the holiday. Because you should have made it about family, friends, and it's really not. I mean, most cases, you don't get to see your friends on Christmas. Most time, it's considered rude or something. And then when you're in a relationship, Christmas is all holidays become a fucking, you know, 2-trip process because you got your family, you got her family, different ways of celebrating. Personally, when I was a kid, we used to get up at like 7 in the morning. Like the moment we woke up, we were, you know, waking our parents up. But it was also the only day where in my house we could wake up our parents, because like, I don't know, where I came from, it was like, you do not wake your dad. I mean, there's literally a fucking board game at the time that was called Don't Wake Daddy, and it's because we are all used to having, you know, a dad that works early, so you don't want to piss him off, because, you know, if he has to go to work pissed off, then he's not gonna, you know, it's just a bad way to start the morning. So you never wake up your dad. Never wanted to do that. And so yeah, I think it's funny that there's a whole board game on the very premise that dad is always the worst person to wake up in the morning. But at Christmas, it was, you know, expected. So I'll never forget one year it was one year, I think it was like it was probably like one of the last Christmases I can really remember that is just bad. First of all, we picked out our own damn presents, so we already knew what we got. I think my mom was just pissed that day and just said, "Get whatever you fucking guys want, and then we'll just wrap it." And it really sucked all the fun right out of the holiday. So, I think even the next day she was mad at him, and that it was an awkward morning, and so I just I never cared for it. Even though I'm supposed to, sometimes I felt like I got excited because felt like I was supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like watching any kind of, I was gonna say Seinfeld, but any sitcom that has a laugh track. You laugh because you're supposed to. And when you're a little kid, and you're watching Seinfeld. There's a whole there's an episode where he goes on this whole thing of eloquently explaining that he needs enough distance for his poop and bowel movements to give a certain amount of room so the stink can fade off, and her apartment was too small, so whenever he has to take a shit, it just doesn't work out because he knows it's going to stink up her apartment, so he'll go anywhere else besides her bathroom. And so while he's explaining it, he uses these very eloquent terms. I keep saying elegant. And so he uses this elegant language, and it's so well worded that I didn't even know what it meant. And I still laughed because the laugh track came on. And for some reason, and if my old drummer Ray agreed with me, we both had this problem, that we would just laugh because, we know that adults are laughing, so we should probably laugh too. And there is some psychology to that. They've noticed, they being therapists, excuse me, the people in the psychological community, they had noticed that children enjoy adult humor because it makes them feel more mature. That makes sense. But in my position, it was the same. So Christmas to me was something that I felt like I was supposed to be excited about and supposed to be thrilled about. But, in our house, God, it's hard to say that. Holidays were never a good time in my experience. I mean, I have a lot of grudges to hold for that against certain people, but I'm not that kind of person. I just can't hold a grudge. But it does suck that when I look back, there's very few moments of joy. For us, it was more, I don't know, our arguments and fights tended to be more popular than hugging and any kind of affirmation that you live in a normal household. I always knew I didn't. I didn't have a traditional home life. On paper I did, but behind the curtain, holidays were always tense, and me having a nerve issue, it just made everything worse. I would eat and my stomach was in knots, So holidays really brought out the worst in people around me, and I just hated it. I never wanted to put up with it. I wish we could just skip it because, I still have those hesitations, from being a child, which was why when I had my kids, it was so awesome to experience Christmas through my son and seeing him. I can really look at my son and see myself and I look at my daughter, and the joy in their faces made me so happy because I never really had that. And wow, that's pretty deep. It's probably the deepest I've ever gone on this show. But you know what? Let's talk about something else. The reason why I had gone ahead and went with the caption of affirmations suck, it was simply because it's impossible to get real affirmation that what you're doing is good or that you're a good person. I mean, we all want that positive affirmation. We all want that person to pat us on the back and say, wow, you did a really good job wiping your butt today. Yeah, we all want to be fucking... I don't know. There's a part of us that, we all want some sort of validation, I guess. Now, I never like going into politics, but I really want to use Trump right now as an example of fake affirmation. Now, here's a man that claims to be a fucking billionaire, okay? You have a person that claims to be a billionaire in every aspect of his personality, every little category. It shows how pathetic he is. Billionaires don't have, their own planes or whatever, being in some garage worked on for 2 years. Billionaires have jets and fucking, airliners of their own that they can use at all times. Billionaires don't act like Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not act like a billionaire. Look at Elon Musk and, there's a billionaire. He shows it. He buys shit. Bill Gates buys shit. And so, yeah, okay, whatever about them being evil or whatever, or reptilian, whatever you want to believe, I don't give a shit. That's your problem. But to that effect, I still think that, shit, what was I just talking about? Yeah, it's just pathetic. Billionaires don't act like Donald Trump. They just don't. Apparently, he would actually do this in the Oval Office. He would actually go to the press pool to just want people to talk about him. So he would have his assistants actually call out to other countries and ask for their ambassadors to call Trump and just give him some positive affirmations. That is how insecure this fucking prick is. And again, if you're a fucking billionaire, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't ever need to worry about that. Like, if you're so fucking hungry for press, a billionaire can just make his own goddamn press, If you feel like you're not in enough newspapers, a billionaire can buy his own fucking newspaper, But nobody is that thirsty except for Trump. So it makes it more... The only real affirmation here is that you're not a billionaire. You're a fucking liar. And, he always loves to say that, I'm very rich. I'm very rich. No, you're not that rich, dude. For one, you wouldn't have been hiding your taxes for so long. Two, you wouldn't constantly need fucking validation and support and people to literally have to play show tunes on the fucking radio so you can feel better about yourself. Billionaires don't do that. Billionaires don't need that shit. They're like, dude, I'm awesome. I know I'm awesome. And if you don't think I'm awesome, I will buy your ass and make me awesome. That's the mindset of a billionaire, not Trump. Trump acts like a dude that wishes he was a billionaire. And that ego of his is so fucking fragile that the smallest of tweets or Facebook posts can get him all riled up. And again, a billionaire wouldn't behave that way. So, do you honestly think that he's a billionaire? Really? So yeah, it's kind of a lesson in life. You know, you want to keep the right. I mean, you are who your friends are, so you want to keep a circle around you that is willing to push you and test you, like, you know, mentally, and you know, they should challenge you mentally in conversation. You know, a friend uh, shouldn't. Oh God, you know, a friend is not there to say yes to everything for you. You know, that's a yes man. That's not a friend. That's not a fucking. You want a circle where people can call you on your shit, so that way if you fuck up, they got your back. You know, I would much rather have somebody on the opposition that is honest than someone on my side completely bullshitting me the whole time. I could never have that kind of lifestyle where, you know, my opinion isn't challenged. Like if I said something sucks, I expect someone to have the opposite opinion because there's always a devil's advocate. You know, there's always another point of view. Drop my shit. Um, and I never liked that term. You are who your friends are, because I used to have friends that were way crazier than I was. But in the way that it's meant to be, it does make sense. It actually is true. It's probably more truthful than anything else. You really are who your friends are. And I must be nobody because I don't have any friends. Um, seriously, I got like 3 friends in my lifetime and in my circle. And I'd like to think that if I was making a mistake, my friends would tell me. You know, I don't even like to think that. I know that. You know, and that's because I choose my circle. We all do. So you have Trump now confused and literally asking why he's not getting any more attention and why he's not allowed certain things. Motherfucker, you're not president. Okay? And he does not understand that. So he doesn't understand why he doesn't get to use Air Force One anymore. Why, you know, because when you are a former president, you get an aid. You have aids for the rest of your life. You're looked after. You know, I don't know why. I really don't. I mean, who really gives a I mean, when have you really heard of a president being assassinated after their term? I mean, it doesn't really, yeah, especially in the modern era. We've had, you know, I've been alive long enough to see what, um, probably what, 5 presidents, I think. I don't know. That was what? There's Bush Senior. That was when I was born. Clinton, Bush, Obama, yeah, and then Trump and Biden. So I've been alive for 6 presidents, and those, uh, all of them are alive and well. And I don't think that's because they have aides following them, watching for every bullet that comes their way. I just think no one has any interest in killing a former president. If you're going to kill a president, you're going to kill him while he's at his term because you don't agree with him or you're obsessed with him or you want to show off to Jodie Foster or something like that. If you don't get that joke, read a book. Seriously. Learn your history. It happened during the Reagan administration. Another thing I want to talk about was I was surprised to see that, let me pull up my notes here, that, yeah, I was talking about how movies are suddenly getting a resurgence. And, you know, with the new movies coming out like Violent Night, The Whale, and 65. Now, 65 looks very interesting. The whole premise is that he thought he was being thrown into another planet, and Adam Driver actually is experiencing a time loop where basically he falls into a wormhole, and basically he's in Earth, but 65 million years ago. So it's a guy from the future dealing with dinosaurs. And so anything with dinosaurs that is not Jurassic Park, you got me in, dude. I'm in. I'm all in. Because anything by Jurassic Park, I can't watch anymore. I mean, they have beaten that horse to death. And it was before, even before they had made Jurassic World. In my opinion, it never needed a sequel. Jurassic Park 2 made us think that we were going to have dinosaurs in the city and all that shit. It didn't happen. But, yeah, it was a terrible thing. But with a terrible fucking movie. And, like, the year 2000 was probably, like, the worst year for movies. And that was... and that was, me coming up. That was me in my fucking favorite time. And the movies that we had sucked, dude. Like, you had that Godzilla 2000. That was terrible. That Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. And if you put Matthew Broderick in anything, you are guaranteed to fail because you hired Matthew Broderick. That guy cannot act his way out of a nutsack. He is the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. I don't like modern actors. Like, I don't know. I like Robert Pattinson. He's one of the. Yeah, I like Andrew Garfield, but there's fewer young actors that I actually can respect and like. Guys like Joaquin Phoenix and I was actually a Heath Ledger fan, but yeah, when he passed away. So when I heard that he was going to be the Joker, while everybody was first saying that's fucking going to suck, I had watched the preview on my phone, and this is like when phones first started having internet access, and I got a sneak peek of the Dark Knight preview, and I knew instantly it was going to be great just by the preview. And if you were around in 2000, you'd see that like everything was crap. Movies were just crap. And so with The Whale, Brandon Fraser's in that. Definitely looks good because it's more cinema, and lately movies have just been a series of I don't know. It's like cinema now is just a big game of what is the name of that board game where you have to know all? Oh, it's called Logo. Yeah, Logo. And so it's just brands now. If you have a brand and a logo, you have a fan base, and you're gonna make a movie on it. That's all people care about anymore. And so cinema is definitely choking. And I'm not worried about cinema ever dying because there's always going to be real artists out there, and there's always going to be another Fellini, and there's always going to be another Scorsese. I mean, in one case you can say that of course, there's never going to be anyone like him. But I'm saying there will be better movies in the future. I can't picture a theater. Actually, no, I can. One time I came into a theater and it literally was everything that I had looked at was either it was like Transformers, some like 3 Marvel movies, a DC movie, and I was like, wow, there are no just stories anymore. No one writes just a story. So it's really funny to see how Hollywood thinks now. I like to think that Hollywood thinks they have this knowledge of what is the pulse of America, what America wants. We don't know what we want. Okay, we have to see it, and then we know what we want. You know, the only thing we can tell you is what we don't want, and like what we know we don't like. But that's entirely a director's job, is to take something that you ordinarily wouldn't like and turn it into something great. If you look at Scorsese films, most of them seem to have a theme of redemption. I think redemption is the common thread in most Scorsese flicks. From Cape Fear, you had Max Cady. Goodfellas, you had Henry Hill. You know, the last Temptation of Christ, where you had Jesus. Each one of these movies, also The Departed, you're looking at a common thread here being redemption. And so I really like the idea for The Departed, because even though it was originally a Japanese movie and remade by Scorsese, I think that the thread and that theme still applied very much so, because Leonardo DiCaprio's character is a cop infiltrating a gang, or mafia, the Irish mob. And so it's, on one hand, you have a dirty, the story of a dirty cop, and then the story of a good cop that looks dirty. So both of them are on opposite sides of the fence, but in the same realm. And neither are, I want to say that Matt Damon's character, since he was kind of the opposite of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, it's still based, gives you that question, is this character finally redeemed after all of this story arc, And Matt Damon clearly wasn't, because he had no remorse for what he did. So Mark Wahlberg kills him at the end, and we see the rat walk by, and that's symbolizing, obviousness, that sometimes the answer is right in front of you. But it was, seeing it from the Leo angle was interesting, because he plays a guy named Billy Costigan. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, he's a good guy thrown into this situation where he has to come out looking like one of the typical, members of the scum of the earth, so to speak. And so, in a way, he's looking for his own sense of self-redemption, because although he looks evil on the outside, is he truly good on the inside is the question. Because if he can handle this dark side of the world so well and adapt to it so well, then that means that this is kind of the life for you. This follows with your kind of personality. So it's in a way showing that even the best of people have, the worst intentions can come from the best of people, and the best of people can seem like the worst in society. I think that's a good way of putting it. That's how I'm going to say it. All right, there's my time. Thank you for spending it with me. Thank you for spending it with me. Another big thanks to Christine for joining us. So let's get her dancing over there. There she goes. Now get out. Get away from me. Get out of here, you bad dinosaur. All right. Love you guys. Take it easy. Always hit us up over on uselessagent@gmail.com. And you can hit us up about anything. We're always happy to hear from you guys. Love any of your comments or emails. We read them all. We love this shit. So thank you. Take care of each other and yourselves. And I will see you on the other side. All right. Peace.
Useless agent is on your TV, laptop, or your PC.